Welcome to the Nebraska State Board of Education Board meeting. Could we have the roll call, please, Denise?
Lisa Fricke,
Present.
Patsy Kojans,
Here.
Rachel Wise,
Here.
John Witzel,
Here.
Molly O'Halloran,
Present.
Patricia Tim,
Yes.
Maureen Nichols,
Present.
Patrick McPherson,
Present.
Commissioner Bloomstead.
Present.
All present.
And if we will rise right now for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If I may remind everybody, information regarding the Open Meetings Act is posted on the east wall of this room on the south side of the door. Live web streaming will be available through the State Board of Education website. I'd like to remind board members to engage their microphones before speaking and to turn them off when they are done speaking. And please turn off your cell phones. Thank you very much. Approval of the minutes. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of the March 1, 2018 State Board of Education meeting?
So move. Second.
Is there any discussion on this motion? Seeing none, Denise, please call the roll.
Rachel Wise,
Yes.
John Witzel,
Yes.
Molly O'Halloran,
Yes.
Lisa Fricke,
Yes.
Patsy Kojans,
Yes.
Patricia Tim,
Yes.
Maureen Nichols,
Yes.
Patrick McPherson.
Yes.
8 yes.
Now we'll move on to approval of the agenda. Commissioner Bloomstead, are there any recommended changes for today's agenda?
Just one, the legislative committee actually didn't have any action items, so we're able to pull item 7.1. And I guess just another note, we're expecting Michelle Helt to arrive. That was item 9.1, I think, is a special report. We probably move her up once she's able to get here and be able to have her present when she, hopefully the weather's treating her all right. We'll see.
Thank you, Commissioner. Is there a motion to approve today's agenda with the recommended changes?
I move approval agenda with recommended changes.
Second.
Is there any discussion on this motion? Seeing none, Denise, please call the roll.
Patrick McPherson.
Yes.
Patrick McPherson, sorry, I didn't have my mic on, so. Maureen Nichols,
Yes.
Patricia Tim,
Yes.
John Witzel.
Yes.
Molly O'Halloran,
Yes.
Rachel Wise.
Yes.
Patsy Kojans,
Yes.
Lisa Fricke.
Yes.
8 yes.
Thank you very much, Denise. Public comment period. We will now have our public comment period. This period of public comment is available for any person who wishes to address the State Board of Education on subjects within its authority. Please note that the public comment should be on topics related to the State Board's constitutional and statutory authority. Thanks to the members of the public who attend today, we have one request for appearance. Mr. Henry Burke has requested and has been granted a special appearance to comment. Henry, you have 10 minutes, sir.
Good morning. My name is Henry Burke. I would like to discuss why Nebraska should not use computer adaptive testing for assessments. Whenever I think about computers, I remember two things. The GIGO rule, garbage in, garbage out, and also computers make very fast, very precise mistakes. The Nebraska Department of Education, NDE, is implementing a new assessment system this spring, Nebraska Student-Centered Assessment System, NSCAS, or lovingly called NSCAS. I was concerned when I learned that Nebraska was planning to use computer adaptive assessments. The State Board of Education contracted with Northwest Evaluation Association, NWEA, to provide the assessments under a $29 million contract. Northwest will also provide computer adaptive map growth tests. You might be wondering, what are computer adaptive assessments? Computer adaptive assessments, or CAA, are designed to adjust the level of difficulty based on the responses provided by the test taker. If the student, test taker, answers the question incorrectly, the computer follows up with an easier question. If the student answers correctly, the next question will be more difficult. Computer adaptive assessments tend to give easier items after a person answers incorrectly. Could an astute test taker use such clues to detect incorrect answers and correct them? Could test takers be coached to purposely pick wrong answers, leading to an easier test? Clever students will always look for ways to game the system. Why should Nebraska avoid computer adaptive assessments? I will cover a few reasons this morning, and more of those are found in the written report. The first and most important reason why we should avoid computer adaptive assessments is Common Core. The two major national assessment consortia for the Common Core standards are Smarter Balanced, SBAC, and PARC, PARCC. Because both SBAC and PARC are using computer adaptive assessments, the CAA market is huge. Most companies and organizations providing computer adaptive assessments are gearing their services to Common Core standards. Teachers and parents absolutely hate Common Core and the assessment consortium. SBAC started with 31 states in 2010 and now has only 13 states. PARC started with 26 states in 2010 and now has only 6 participating states, plus DC. A clever ploy used by some states is to select a testing organization other than PARC or SBAC to provide the assessments. Two organizations furnishing state accountability assessments are Northwest Evaluation Association and Data Recognition Corporation, DRC. Northwest entered the huge $1.2 billion high-profile, high-stakes state summative testing market in June 2016. Summative tests, of course, measure academic progress of the students at the end of the school year. Northwest is known primarily for its measures of academic progress, known as the MAP growth test. Northwest has very strong Common Core connections and ties. A recent independent study found that more than 97% of MAP growth assessments aligned with the Common Core standards. In other words, Nebraska schools are using Common Core aligned computer adaptive assessments. Quite likely, the Northwest end of course summative assessment will be heavily Common Core. When NDE officials say that Nebraska is not using Common Core, the words are nothing more than empty rhetoric. Nebraska is also considering Data Recognition Corporation, DRC, as an alternative testing contractor. DRC has very strong Common Core ties and worked with the development of the SBAC testing system. Common Core assessments are directly linked with curriculum. Not even a clutch or transmission separates the two. Bill Gates acknowledged this when he stated, when the tests are aligned to the common standards, the curriculum will line up as well. Laura Slover, CEO of PARC, admitted the linkage between Common Core and curriculum when she stated, high-quality assessments go hand in hand with high-quality instruction based on high-quality standards. You cannot have one without the other. The PARC states see quality assessments as a part of instruction, not a break from instruction. Nebraska is supposedly a non-Common Core state. Because assessments drive curriculum, Common Core assessments will push Nebraska schools deeper into Common Core. Common Core uses many subjective assessments rather than objective tests that contain right or wrong answers. With objective tests, the end score is much more accurate for comparing state to state, school to school, and student to student results. With subjective questions, the students are scored based upon the subjective opinions of the evaluator. and opinions differ from person to person. Another reason to avoid computer adaptive testing is the way the tests change student behaviors. By their very nature, computer adaptive assessments are ripe for abuse. If the author of the computer adaptive assessment wants to change the way a child thinks, the author simply keeps giving the same question over and over again, maybe with slightly different words. Eventually, the child is forced to answer the question the way the author desires, so that the child can move forward on the test. I don't know about you, but I don't want Nebraska schools to turn into factories producing non-thinking robots. Donna Garner is an experienced classroom teacher and education expert. She explained that computer adaptive assessments are psychologically dangerous when the affective domain enters the assessment questions. The affective domain involves feelings, emotions, and opinions. Donna Garner also explained how social emotional learning, or SEL, indoctrinates the students. With subjective questions, there are no objective, fact-based, right or wrong answers. The value system of the test writer determines the correct answer. What are the ramifications of Nebraska adopting the Northwest Computer Adaptive Assessments? Map growth is fully Common Core aligned, over 97%. Map growth is fully Common Core aligned. Nebraska, with map growth test, will be given at least 3 times during the school year, in the fall, winter, and spring. Without doubt, Nebraska teachers will be teaching to the test each and every day to make their students ready for the next map growth exam. Is there any reason to believe that the summative end of course INSCAS assessment will be anything other than Common Core? The final reason to avoid computer adaptive testing is the way parental rights are trampled. In the K-12 education area, testing companies are not required to give parents the opportunity for informed consent. With the Common Core mindset, student behaviors, values, beliefs, and attitudes are found on the computer adaptive assessments. Because parents and teachers are not allowed to see the test items, there are few checks and balances on this whole system. The future looks rather bleak for Nebraska students. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Byrd. Thank you very much, sir. We will now move to our regular public comment period. I would like to remind you to please sign in if you have not already done so. There are sign-in cards in the back table. We have 1 public comment card turned in, and the public will speak in the order the cards were received. Each member of the public will receive 5 minutes to speak during the public comment period. I will announce whether there is no need for follow-on. So we have 1, Ms. Pinkerton, ma'am. You're welcome.
Oh, okay. Good morning. Rachel Pinkerton here. I have an update. I've bothered you with this several times. The update is this. Omaha Liberty Ladies. I proudly wear my Omaha Liberty Ladies shirt. This is an organization that I serve as a board member for. And we were happy to host Charlie Kirk as our speaker on Wednesday, day before yesterday. You'll see a picture of Charlie with some of his Turning Point team. That's taken at our luncheon at Happy Hollow Country Club. And he came to us weeks after interviewing President Trump at the White House, where he has entered history. Charlie Kirk has as the youngest person ever to interview a sitting president. Blonde Katie Mullen captured the photo above of lecturer Courtney Lawton, displaying symptoms of postmodernist nihilism characterized by confusing dignity, liberty, and moral courage with their counterfeits, vanity, license, and contemptuous defiance. Charlie, I think I may have mentioned to you already, received a national award in December from Ginny Thomas, who's known to us as the wife of esteemed Husker fan Clarence Thomas. In accepting his award, Charlie said, "What is happening right now on campus is a fight for America's soul and for Western civilization. We are going to win and they're going to lose." I'll also note, I may have mentioned that the Turning Point team brought conservative speaker Ben Shapiro to Omaha on February 28th, a remarkable feat. That was a sellout, 2,000 attended, and just who showed such enthusiasm and civility that Ben Shapiro grinned with his dimples and said, "I guess I'm moving to Nebraska." There were 2 protesters only of that event. And to emphasize how this movement is not a cult of personality by any stretch, Ben Shapiro lets it be known more often than I would like, he didn't even vote for Donald Trump. And he has, but just the conservative principles that are catching fire at this time in our history are being reasoned and explained and embraced. And Ben Shapiro welcomes people with who disagree, and that was impressive that he invited people to jump the line if they had questions and they had a different worldview or disagreed with him. So I'm happy to report that and happy to be a supporter of Turning Point USA. And on the local front there, I had another meeting with Chancellor Green yesterday, along with Dr. Paul Van Buren, and also a Lincoln education activist. I don't know if you're familiar with Deb Smith Ports, but she's also a big supporter of Turning Point USA and a former Gallup executive. And if you may have noticed, and our main focus of our meeting yesterday with the Chancellor was a Gallup survey that's going to be conducted across the university systems to measure possible bias among students and faculty. And so Deb, as well as being a friend and an activist, happens to be a former Gallup executive. She and one other person started their government and education division, started it here at Lincoln, if I'm not mistaken, and then she was out in DC for 10 years developing that division for Gallup. So she's very savvy about the survey process, and we will be having a follow-up meeting in the future with Dr. Green. So that's my update. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Ms. Pinkerton. Thank you, ma'am. We're going to now move into our special presentations and discussions, and we are blessed this morning to have the 2018 Nebraska Teacher of the Year with us to give us a quarterly report. Michelle Helt is from South Sioux City Middle School, and you are welcome, Michelle.
Thank you. I made it down.
Did you drive through?
I
It
did
sounds
this
like you had
morning.
quite a bit of snow
Yeah, there was
coming
a
through,
bit.
yeah.
I know.
It's Nebraska.
Makes us tough. Yeah, I know, go that way.
Does he have to get out and sign work? But does your husband have to be outside?
sit in the seat. I can sit here? Okay, perfect.
We're just glad you're here.
Okay.
Yeah, it's good to see you. You saved me
Oh,
a
it's great to
ride.
be
That's
back.
awesome.
I was getting ready for this and I started getting nervous and I thought,
Oh,
oh no, I know
no,
these people. This was
no.
fun last
Yeah.
time I came down.
We're amongst friends. So.
Oh. Okay,
Deep breath.
thank you. So as I was getting ready for today, I was reflecting on what the past few months have been like for me, and two words really came to mind: grateful and challenging. I was a little reluctant, thank you. I was a little reluctant to use the word challenging because sometimes it has such a negative feel to it. But for me, it was a very positive, it has been very positive and profound impact on what I'm doing as a teacher in my classroom. The past few months have really pushed me beyond my comfort zone, which in and of itself is uncomfortable. But it has really helped me to grow and to have a better understanding of myself and my purpose as an educator. I welcome the future challenges. There are a lot coming up, so I'm excited for the things to come, and I truly appreciate the opportunities that I've had so far. So I wanted to share with you, I think pictures are the best way to share your story. So we'll get started here. So the biggest event that has happened was our induction weekend. We got to go to San Francisco, and it was put on by Google. We got to visit 3 of their sites in that area. I had the opportunity to meet several of the other Teacher of the Year. And we just had some really good, deep educational discussions. It's so interesting to see how different every state is, but then also how much alike we are. You know, the bottom line is we love our kids and we want what's best for them, and it's just interesting how people go about doing that in different ways. 2 of the things that I took away, I had the opportunity to listen to Sal Khan of Khan Academy. Very challenging speaker. He really makes you think about technology and its place in the classroom. One of the things he said, and it really resonated with me, is that the purpose of technology is to really help us think about how humans can be more human. So his idea with Khan Academy is to take the mundane tasks that you might do with a student, get that out of the way so that you can have some of those really deep conversations and really pursue those projects with students. His story was quite captivating. The other piece that I really loved about this visit was that I got to tour the primary school. It is co-founded by Priscilla Chan, who is the wife of Mark Zuckerberg. She has taken the idea of health and wellness with academic education. And the other piece I loved is they talk about the soul of the child. So they really talk about having a well-rounded child. They have wellness coaches for parents, which I thought was a fabulous idea. So instead of saying, you know, a parent has a problem maybe picking up a prescription for their child or getting somewhere, their wellness coach really coaches them through, okay, how can we overcome this? Is there a bus that we can take? Is there someone that you can carpool with? Is there, you know, they just try to help them find things to help them become successful with their students. And the other thing I noticed, kind of going back to schools across the country, it was so much like the schools I teach in. You know, I walked in and here's the big rug on the floor, and the kids are on the floor, and the kids are all over the place, and they're doing great things. They were just kind of incorporating that health piece that I thought was very, very interesting. So that was a fun visit. And it was nice. I had been out of the classroom for several days, so it was kind of nice to go see the littles again and reconnect. I've also been down for a little bit of the legislature piece. This was a whole new experience for me. My superintendent, Todd Strom, brought me down and I got a chance to hear the State of the State address. That was actually my first time in the Capitol building. It's absolutely beautiful. I know I hadn't been there before. It was beautiful. And then had a chance to meet with Joni Albrecht. Along with that, there was a legislative resolution. So the Lieutenant Governor came to our classroom and read it to our kids. I had to include the picture of him addressing my class. Neither one of us knew it was going to be open to questions. So Mr. Strom, go ahead, he opened it up for questions. And if you can see my face, it's quite red. I'm thinking, oh dear, I did not prep these 8-year-olds for questions. So of course it came up, how much do you make? I'm just cringing in the corner. And he was fabulous. He was so gracious about it. Oh, I'm a public servant. And he talked about what he made. And one little girl, again, I would have prepped them differently, but her question was, why is it okay for girls to hit boys, but boys can't hit girls? And again, he recovered and he did a great, it's not okay to hit anyone. He did a fabulous job with that. But the learning from that is I will prep my students anytime someone comes into my classroom about appropriate questions. But it's also been a great point to come back to and be able to talk to our kids about the government, how it's set up, who are these people, and they have a direct connection to that. So that's been really fun. I also had a chance to attend the Educators Rising Conference that was down here in February, again during a snowstorm. These are the students that came from South City High School. This is only their second year with a chapter of Educators Rising, so to bring 17 kids down, they had several kids compete. 2 of them placed first in their divisions. I had the opportunity to sit down with a freshman and talk about the lesson that she gave, and we had, she kind of just reflected on it, things she liked, things she wanted to do differently, and it was so encouraging to see people that young who are that passionate about education. I mean, I loved kids, and I always knew that's what I wanted to do, but I never had an outlet like that when I was in school. That was not something we did. I didn't even think about planning a lesson until I was in college. So I also presented a breakout session, so I got to visit with some other students across the state. A few weeks ago, I presented to Midland University. My purpose in that was really to focus on the why, being very purposeful about what you do in the classroom, hoping to impress upon them that we really have a finite amount of time with our students and we have to make the most of it. So to pack those lessons as full as you can, as meaningful as you can, as purposeful as you can. I felt like it went really well, and at the end a student, bless her heart, came up and said, I really learned a lot. And I said, well, thank you. She goes, it wasn't boring at all. Well, I appreciate that. I felt a little better after that conversation with her. She goes, I thought you might want to know that. I said, well, thank you. So that was encouraging. And then I saved 2 of my favorite pictures for last. This kind of goes along with the fun part and the appreciativeness that I have. So I have never been a selfie person. I think this might be my first official selfie of myself in San Francisco. And it was also one of my first tweets because I finally started Twitter, slowly but surely entering that water. So trying to document the great things that I'm being able to do as well as the things that are happening around me. And then my husband and I were also gifted tickets by UNL to the Iowa-Nebraska game, football game. Beautiful day, beautiful campus. This was my first time at a college game. The interesting part is that although I teach in Nebraska, we are Iowa fans. So I knew I needed to wear my Nebraska gear. I mean, that would be only respectful. My husband, we compromised on black. Black felt pretty comfortable for him. So it was absolutely a beautiful game. It was just a wonderful, well, it was for Iowa. I mean, it was a beautiful day. It was gorgeous. It was unlike today's weather, we'll put it that way. But the fans were great, and it was interesting. We were sitting by some Nebraska fans, and they were great at the beginning of the game, and by the end, it was interesting to see how they evolved. Fire the coach. We don't need the coach. I'm like, oh boy, I would not want to get on your bad side. So, but it was a fun opportunity. I'd never been to a game, so it's something that you definitely need to experience.
Your husband looks happy too.
Yes. And then upcoming, so actually tomorrow I will be going to Morningside College in Sioux City, Iowa, and doing a keynote and presentation at the Kappa Delta Pi Conference. Next week I will be in Kearney for the Student Education Association of Nebraska luncheon. I will be presenting at the Data Conference on the 16th and 17th, and then Washington Week comes at the end of the month, the beginning of May, and then of course the Forum on Education at the end of June, Space Camp, and Next Steps in New Jersey. So that's on the plate so far. So it has been quite a ride. I have really enjoyed it, and like I said, it's really pushed some boundaries for me, but I think that's been great. It's really stretched and helped me grow. So.
Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you.
Do board members have any questions or comments?
I do. Your enthusiasm is just contagious. How are your kids doing? I so enjoyed visiting your classroom. How are they taking your being out of the classroom and the transitions between your being gone and being back in? And I'm guessing your kids are wanting to follow you on this journey.
Yes.
But I'd love to hear a little bit about how your kids are responding.
Yes. I try to bring back everything that I do. I try to incorporate a lot of pictures and talk about what I'm learning so that they know why I'm gone. I also try to prep them before I leave so that they're very prepared. I am also very blessed that I have a student teacher. She is from USD, so they do a 2 semester placement. So she did 1 full semester already in kindergarten in our building and is on her 2nd placement. So I feel very confident in leaving her. So it has some continuity with the kiddos. So I have to be honest, I was gone last week. I was able to attend a conference in Seattle, and I came back on Tuesday and we talked about it. I said, I will be gone for a day and a half at the end of the week, and it kind of breaks your heart. A couple of them just put their head down.
Oh,
They're
no.
shaking, like, I'll be back, I'll be back. So it's been difficult, but it also has been great. I mean, they've been able to explore different parts of the world, you know, different parts of the country with me, so I try to bring it back as much as I can.
Lisa?
You're such a delight to
Oh,
get
thank
to
you.
know. I thank you for that. It makes me want to go back in the classroom. But my question is, with your colleagues, have you found that they are wanting you to mentor them with ideas that you find as you go out and around? How has that collegial relationship evolved?
My colleagues have been incredibly supportive. I mean, everything that I'm doing, and they're always asking questions and very inquisitive. So, I feel like I'm becoming more comfortable going to them with ideas and
That's
presenting the
awesome.
things that I've learned. So it's
Thank
been
you.
great.
Molly?
I have a favor to ask you if you would be comfortable with it. I know on our NDE website we have you noted as our Teacher of the Year. I think it would be really wonderful if we had a hyperlink to your Twitter feed so that people that come to the website can follow. Because I imagine you're tweeting wherever you're going and maybe capturing some important points. And if it's on the NDE website, all our teachers across the state can follow you if you feel comfortable.
No, absolutely. Like I said, I'm still getting my
Yeah.
feet wet with that, but that's a great.
That way you'll do one message, but you'll have a more broad outreach.
Thank you, Molly. Thank you very much. And with that, we are going to, oh, I'm sorry. Patsy, please.
I'm getting up a little higher.
You are high enough, yeah.
The questions that they're asking you remind me of a long time ago when I was going through this. But it seemed really hard at sometimes with family and my students when I was going through it. But what I wanted to tell you is somehow they've structured the whole year so that each event gets more and more exciting and more relevant to what you're doing in your classroom with your kids. So just keep your chin up when you see their little heads go down, and know that when you get done with all of it, you'll come back with amazing skills and amazing connections from all around the United States and other countries. I hope you guys still have that. One of my favorite teachers was from Norway, and I think when you're finished, you'll say, my kids are better because I've done all of this. And even though it hurts every once in a while that someone else is taking your classes, you will be a champion.
I think it has been great for them to see sometimes the struggles. You know, I'll talk about, I'm nervous. Woo, I have to talk to all these people, and then I come back and talk about how I handled it, what happened, and I think it allows them to see you as a person who gets nervous about things, who's scared to try new things, but also embraces that challenge. It really has been wonderful.
It's very different than the classroom, isn't it?
Oh, yes.
That I'm never nervous in the classroom, and I'm always nervous public speaking, even though I taught it. So I understand that feeling as well, and that gets a little easier as you go too.
And Maureen?
I appreciated hearing you talk about, I had never been to a college football game.
Wow.
And I recall when I was teaching back just a few years ago, so many of my students, my fourth graders, when I brought them to Lincoln, to the Capitol, and we spent a whole day at the Capitol, and then I took them over to the football field, and so many of those students on the bus ride down had shared with me, I've never been out of Grand Island. I've never been out of Hall County before.
That's right.
And you just don't think about those things. So for you to hear you say, I had never experienced anything like this, or I think those are great experiences to take back to your students, so that they know of the possibilities that are out there.
Thank you, Mo. And with that, we're going to take a 5-minute break.
Thank you.
everybody. We reconvened. We'll continue on with our agenda. Next will be AQuest Student Success and Access Domain Committee. Molly, in regards to transitions, Molly, is there a motion on item 7.2.A.1 on the Easter Seals contract?
I move to grant the Commissioner the authority to approve a contract with Easter Seals, Nebraska for students with disabilities age 14 to 21 enrolled in high school during the 18-19 school year.
Second.
Is there any discussion? If not, Denise, please call roll.
Patrick McPherson,
Yes.
Patricia Tim,
Yes.
Lori Nichols,
Yes.
John Wetzel,
Yes.
Molly O'Halloran.
Yes.
Patsy Kojan,
Yes.
Rachel Wise.
Yes.
Lisa Fricky.
Yes.
8 yes.
Motion passes. Thank you very much.
I move to grant the Commissioner the authority to approve a contract with Educational Service Unit Number 16 to implement 2 4-week summer internship programs, Summer Work Education and Employment Program called SWEEP.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Nichols,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
McPherson,
Yes.
O'Halloran. Yes. Wise,
Yes.
Witzel,
Yes.
Fricky,
Yes.
Co-Johns.
Yes.
8 yes.
Molly, is there a motion on item 7.2.A.3 on the DNR contract?
I move to grant the Commissioner the authority to approve a contract with Disability Rights Nebraska, DRN, to conduct a self-advocacy for youth and disability program.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Denise, please call roll.
Co-Johns,
Yes.
Wise,
Yes.
Witzel,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
McPherson,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
O'Halloran. Yes. Fricky.
Yes.
8 yes.
Thank you. Molly, is there a motion on item 7.2.A.4 on the PTI contract?
I move to grant the Commissioner the authority to approve a contract with PTI Nebraska, Parent Training and Information, to implement Family Employment Awareness Training called FEAT.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, Denise, would you please call roll?
Nichols,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
O'Halloran. Yes. McPherson,
Yes.
Witzel,
Yes.
Co-Johns,
Yes.
Fricky,
Yes.
Wise.
Yes.
8 yes.
Thank you, Denise. Molly, is there a motion on item 7.2.A.5 on the ESU 13 contract?
I move to grant the Commissioner the authority to approve a contract with Educational Service Number 13, Educational Service Unit Number 13, to provide workplace readiness training and partner with Scottsbluff, Nebraska businesses.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, Denise, call roll, please.
Tim,
Yes.
O'Halloran, Yes. Wise,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
McPherson,
Yes.
Witzel,
Yes.
Fricky,
Yes.
Co-Johns.
Yes.
8 yes.
Thank you. Molly, is there a motion on item 7.2.B.1 on the HSMC Horizon LLC contract?
I move to grant the Commissioner the authority to contract with HSMC Horizon LLC to conduct procedure reviews at a cost of $52,200.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, Denise, please call roll.
Co-Johns,
Yes.
Witzel,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
McPherson,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
O'Halloran. Yes. Wise.
Yes.
Fricky.
Yes.
8 yes.
Molly, is there a motion on item 7.2.B.2 on the funding for the 21st CCL grant program?
I move to grant the Commissioner authority to approve funding recommendations for the federally funded 21st Century Community Learning Centers, also known as 21st CCLC, grant program.
Second. No.
Any discussion? Hearing none, Denise, please call roll.
Wise,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
McPherson,
Yes.
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
Witzel,
Yes.
Ricky,
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
8 yes.
Thank you, Denise. Molly, is there a motion on item 7.2, point B, point 3 on the approval of non-public schools?
I move to approve non-public schools to operate for the 2018-2019 school year pursuant to Rule 1492 NEC 14, Regulations and Procedures for the Legal Operation of Approved Non-Public Schools.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. Denise, please call roll.
McPherson,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
O'Halloran.
Yes.
Wise,
Yes.
Witzel,
Yes.
Ricky,
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
8 yes.
Thank you. For Budget and Finance Committee, I'm asking for a motion on item 7.3, point A to accept the 2017 single audit report.
I move to accept the single audit report 2017.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Denise, please call roll.
Jones,
Yes.
Witzel,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
McPherson,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
O'Halloran.
Yes.
Wise.
Yes.
Ricky,
Yes.
8 yes.
Thank you very much, Denise. Second action item for Budget and Finance in regards to, I'm asking for a motion on item 7.3, point B, to grant the Commissioner authority to purchase new and replacement computer equipment, software licenses, and maintenance agreements for NDE PK through 12 programs. Is there
So moved.
second? Need a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, Denise, please call roll.
Ricky,
Yes.
McPherson,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
Wise.
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
Witzel,
Yes.
O'Halloran.
Yes.
8 yes.
Commissioner, did you want to brief on the consent agenda?
Yeah, we didn't have any items to be pulled, so.
Very good.
I move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Ricky,
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Wise,
Yes.
Witzel,
Yes.
O'Halloran,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
McPherson.
Yes.
8 yes.
Thank you very much. We will now move to board reports, dates, and discussion items. Meetings that took place in the past were not previously approved will be discussed now. They will be broken into two. With the first, is there a motion to approve the attendance of Patsy Koch-Johns, Lisa Fricke, and Patrick McPherson at the Conversation on the Innovative meeting on March 20th, 2018? Note, if I'm subjects in the motion would please abstain.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call. Oh, excuse me, any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Ricky,
I abstain.
Okay.
I abstain.
Jones,
Courteously abstain.
Wise,
Yes.
Witzel,
Yes.
O'Halloran,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
McPherson.
Abstain.
Thank you very much, Denise. Next action item, is there a motion to approve the attendance of Patsy Koch-Johns, Maureen Nichols, Molly O'Halloran, and Lisa Fricke at the Fine Arts Education Summit on 4 April 2018? Again, note, those subjects in the motion, please abstain.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, Denise, please call roll.
Ricky,
I abstain.
Jones,
I abstain.
Wise,
Yes.
Witzel,
Yes.
O'Halloran,
Yes. Oh, I abstain.
Tim,
Yes.
Nichols,
Abstain.
McPherson.
Yes. Point of order, Mr. Chairman. Does a 4 vote pass?
Yes, yes, it does.
Okay.
Says a majority of those voting, present and voting on this type of motion, so we've checked that with legal counsel.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
4 and 4, yes, 4 abstain.
Moving on to our next action item, is there a motion to approve the future meetings participation?
I move approval of future meeting participation.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
As mentioned yesterday, there are things we don't know about that we would want to go to. What would be the proper procedure after this vote, to let you know right away, or wait and go to it and wait for a vote? I'm not sure, because that's happened a couple of times where we didn't know in advance about something and we ended up going. I just need to know the protocol. What do we do? Because I know.
If we don't know, just like we just went through, is fine. It's just a kind of an opportunity for me to discuss this a little bit. I would like to look at board policy relative to within board policy, there's pre-approval essentially for certain travel based on certain conditions. We're gonna work on a process that gets that a little bit cleaner, I think, and appropriate
Okay.
for our board policy. The other component of this is we'll really look at some of those other types of items and make sure we're getting notice out there to you relative to those processes. So we'll do some work on that front and had some conversations on it. So hopefully we'll get that a little smoother for everyone.
Because I didn't want to do anything inappropriate, and if earlier notice to you would be better than waiting to the board meeting, I didn't know.
No, and I
Thank you.
think it's a great point, and we'll try to work on that, and especially given this other kind of guidance from the Accountability and Disclosure Committee relative to how those processes work. So we'll probably take a little bit look at this within board policy too, to
Right.
make sure everything's aligned properly. So
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you, Lisa.
Thank
Thank
you.
you very much. Yes, ma'am.
I did want to comment in that, what we just voted on, there were 2 ways that we're talking about the innovation meeting for early childhood, but it's the same meeting.
Okay.
You probably noticed that too. If not, it's all the same.
On the list, there are several of us approved for it, but it's called 2 different things.
It's the same meeting though.
Same
But
meeting.
it's the same meeting, the Early Childhood Innovation Meeting.
Very good. Thank you very much. Any more discussion? Hearing none? Roll call?
McPherson,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
O'Halloran,
Yes.
Witzel,
Yes.
Wise,
Yes.
Fricky,
Yes.
Co-Johns.
Yes.
8 yes.
Thank you very much, Denise. For information items, written reports, the next items are information items and written reports for the board and for only information only. Ladies and gentlemen, members of the board, in 30 minutes, the state board will convene in the lower level of B of the Nebraska State Office Building for a strategic planning retreat. The planning retreat will not be broadcast. The work session will be held on Thursday, May 3rd at 2:00 p.m. and the board meeting held on Friday, May the 4th at 9 a.m. in this room. The April State Board meeting is now adjourned. Thank you very much. Thank you.
There's our